Everyone knows the story. People are leaving California. The headlines have been running for years and the numbers behind them are real. Here's the story nobody tells you. In the most recent census data, over 400,000 people moved into California from other states in a single year. And where they're coming from might surprise you. If we haven't met yet, I'm Christine Donovan. I'm fourth generation in real estate, third generation in coastal Orange County, and an attorney as well as a broker here in coastal Orange County. I grew up in Newport Beach and I've lived in Costa Mesa for over 30 years and raised my family here. Let's get something out of the way first. More people leave California each year than move in from other states. It's been true for a long time. If someone tells you otherwise, they're selling you something. But here's what gets lost when that's the only number anyone reports. Over 400,000 people looked at everything you've heard about this state, the prices, the taxes, the headlines, and moved here anyway, on purpose, with a moving truck and a plan. And here's a fact that surprises almost everyone. California's population has grown 3 years in a row. I want to be precise about where that growth comes from because the details matter. It's not coming from other states. The state loses more people to other states than it gains from them every year. The growth comes from two places: births outnumbering deaths and people arriving from other countries. I'm giving you the full breakdown because I want you working with the real picture, not the cherry-picked version from either side of the argument. The exodus is real, the growth is real too. Here's the question almost nobody asks. Who are those 400,000 people who moved in from other states, and where are they coming from? According to the Census Bureau, the top states sending people to California are Texas, Arizona, and Washington. Read that first one again, Texas. The state everyone's supposedly fleeing to is also the #1 source of people moving here. The single biggest pipeline into California runs straight out of the state that is supposed to be our replacement. Arizona and Washington round out the top 3. Neighbors, mostly. People who stayed out west, watched California from next door, and decided the water looked just fine. That doesn't mean the exodus story is fake. The California to Texas move is still the biggest state-to-state move in the country, but traffic runs in both directions on that road, and nobody puts the return trip in a headline. Before we get into it, did you leave California? Would you come back? And if you would, what's stopping you? Drop that in the comments, I'm curious. Here's a limitation in the data that I think matters. The census asks where you lived 1 year ago. It doesn't ask where you moved from, which means when someone moves from Texas to California, the data can't tell us whether that's a Texan trying California for the first time or a Californian coming home. I can't give you a boomerang statistic because I can't find one that exists. What I can tell you is what I hear. Someone very close to me grew up at the beach here, right alongside me. She's lived in Texas for over 20 years now. She's built a real life there, a good one. This isn't a story about regret, and it isn't a story about Texas failing her. It didn't. But she would love to come back. She might someday, and the thing standing between her and that isn't desire, it's math. What her house is worth there versus what that same money buys here. The gap is real, and she's not pretending that it isn't. I hear a version of her story constantly from relocation clients. People who left, built something good somewhere else and still feel the pull back and are sitting down with a calculator trying to figure out whether the pull is affordable. The data counts people who complete the move. It can't count the people standing at the edge of it running the numbers. And I can tell you from the phone calls, that group is not small. If you want to talk through whether California or coastal Orange County specifically is the right fit for you and your family, reach out. My team and I have time for you. We love talking with all of you and we want to help you find the right community for your lifestyle. Back to the people who make the move. Here's what I notice about the ones who move here on purpose with clear eyes. They're not moving for a postcard. The ones who arrive expecting a fantasy are usually the ones writing the angry, "I left California" posts 3 years later. The ones who stay tend to have a real reason, a job that's here, family that's here, a career in an industry this state dominates, an income that travels with them, and a lifestyle they've tested, not imagined. And they've done the math going the other direction. They know a dollar buys less house here. They've priced it out line by line and decided the coast, the climate, the career, or the family is worth what it costs. That's not denial, that's a decision. It's the same math conversation I described a few minutes ago. Running in the other direction, moving here without running the numbers is how people end up bitter. Running the numbers and choosing it anyway is how people end up happy. The difference between those two outcomes isn't the state, it's the preparation. California is not for everyone. I've said that in almost every video I make, and I mean it. Wanting to live here isn't enough on its own. But for the people it fits, and 400,000 people a year are deciding it fits, there's a reason this state has been worth the price of admission for 4 generations of my family. One more layer, because this is where the migration story stops being trivia and starts being money. If you own a home in coastal Orange County, those 400,000 arrivals, plus everyone already here competing for the same neighborhoods, are a big part of why demand along this coast stays persistent, even when the headlines sound grim. There's only so much California coastline, and it's just not getting any longer. Now, I've been doing this long enough to remember 2008, and I'm not going to tell you this market never corrects. It does, but over the long run, demand here has generally outlasted the negative news cycles. The exodus stories have been running for years, and buyers keep showing up for well-prepared coastal homes anyway. That's not cheerleading, that's what I watch happen in transactions. If you're moving here or moving back, the same facts cut the other way. You're not arriving into a discount, you're arriving into a market where demand has generally outlasted every negative news cycle, which means preparation matters more here than almost anywhere else. Knowing your numbers before you fall in love with a neighborhood, understanding what your equity from another state translates to on this coast, getting clear on which communities fit your life instead of chasing the famous zip codes. That's the real reason I made this video, not to win an argument about whether California is dying or thriving. It's neither. It's a state where the story is complicated, the demand is stubborn, and the people who do well, leaving, arriving, or coming home, are the ones who deal with the real numbers instead of the narrative. The biggest takeaway here is that migration headlines only count one direction. 400,000 people a year are proof the other direction never stopped. If you're thinking about whether California or anywhere in coastal Orange County fits you, the goal isn't to sell you on it. It's to help you make a decision you feel good about long term. Tell me in the comments, where are you moving from, or where did you go when you left? If you're thinking about relocating to Costa Mesa or anywhere in coastal Orange County, and you want to talk through whether the numbers actually work for your personal situation, reach out. I'm here. My contact information is below. And if you're buying or selling somewhere else entirely, I have a network of trusted agents across the country, and I'm happy to point you in the right direction. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I put out videos every Thursday at 7 p.m. on what it's like to buy, sell, and live in coastal Orange County. No fluff, no sugarcoating, just clarity. I'm Christine Donovan, broker, attorney, clarity first, strategy that sells, and I'll see you in the next one.